Salute, family. I'm Earl the Swirl Mountain Reaper. I live at the Swirl Mountain Graveyard, and I have a short story to tell. On my last Swirl-a-Side assignment, I was robbed by a roaming gang of strag misfits, swirl concubines, and their scent drones. You know, the usual suspects. They robbed me of my cloak, scythe blade, and my favorite footwear. But you can support my work on Cash App at $sigmawins. I could have filed a police report against the Strag mob, but do you really believe the Swirl police will take my word against theirs? Soon enough, I'll have a new cloak, scythe blade, and some fresh footwear. But you're probably wondering, is that really Earl? No cloak, no scythe, no Reaper boots? You know my tagline, so say it with me. There is no mountain higher than Swirl Mountain, no valley too low, no ocean too deep. No climb is met with greater adversity than the steep climb of Swirl Mountain. Most that attempt to climb are doomed to fail. Survive in Bottom Shelf Brad, Case 21. Brittany Smith's body found stuffed in a suitcase after death by strangulation. Prosecutors say white couple killed her. Also, I introduced Earl the Swirl Mountain Reaper in this episode.
A Wake County woman found in a suitcase was strangled to death with a cell phone charger. The autopsy report for Brittany Simone Smith was released today. A blood test found fentanyl and cocaine in her system at the time of her death. She was about 6 months pregnant when she was killed. Her body was found in a suitcase near the Neuse River in February. Wake County has charged 2 people in her murder.
While family, friends, and lawyers prepare for the upcoming trial of the white couple charged with murdering Brittany Smith of Wake County, who was pregnant at the time that she went missing and was later found in a suitcase along the Neuse River, the public remains confused with many questions still unanswered. The State Medical Examiner's Office of North Carolina positively identified the body in a suitcase as belonging to 28-year-old Brittany Simone Smith, who was pregnant and reported missing days before her body was found. The Wake County Sheriff's Office arrested Thomas Clayton Johnson, age 37, and Emily Grace Trevathan, age 24, during a traffic stop in Raleigh, North Carolina. Trevathan and Johnson both face charges of murder, murder of an unborn child, and concealment of a body. They have been booked into the Wake County Detention Center, where they are being held without bond since early February. The search for Smith occurred over a few days in February when search crews came upon her body in a suitcase one Monday morning off Allen Road. Wake County Sheriff Gerald Baker said it's safe to say this was no accident. A friend of the family, Dale Williams, said, "No one deserves to die like that. Frightened, in pain, and alone." In the hours following the grisly discovery, Wake County Sheriff's deputies served a search warrant on Mr. Dale Williams' home in Wendell. Mr. Williams went on to say, "I offered to let the sheriff see him because I had nothing to hide." According to Williams, deputies weren't interested in what was inside of his home, but focused outside where Brittany Smith and her white boyfriend had been living in a tent for months. "I didn't have the means to put her up inside," said Williams of Brittany. "This certainly beats living under a bridge, however." When Brittany Smith disappeared in early February, Mr. Williams said her boyfriend was beside himself. He went on to say, "Cody loved her very much. Deputies questioned the boyfriend after Smith's disappearance, but he wasn't considered a suspect. And deputies say it was not because he was white, but because the evidence did not point to him at the time. As of this upload, Thomas Clayton Johnson is awaiting trial. He is currently charged with murder, assault by pointing a gun, fugitive from law, murder of an unborn child, and concealment of a murder and failure to report a death. Furthermore, Emily Trevathan is also charged with murder, murder of an unborn child, and concealment of murder, though at this time she is not charged with the additional 2 charges that have been made against Thomas Clayton Johnson. The murder charge alone, if found guilty, carries life in prison with no chance of parole or death by injection, according to North Carolina law. It is not clear as of this reporting if the prosecution will seek the death penalty or not, but based on the evidence that I've seen so far, strangulation, stuffing in a suitcase, and the planning of this murder, it sounds like a death penalty case to me. Often in the social media space, we hear back and forth debates about the levels of violence and crime in the United States. But often, these crimes of anti-black domestic violence or anti-black murder go underreported or unreported. So here we have a case of a murderous white couple against a black woman that should have way more discourse than I've heard to this point. The Swirl Mountain concubinage often talk themselves into a dreamy state when talking about the greatness of the white man and his white skin, how stable he is, how nice he is, how much of a leader he is. But here we have an example of a black woman taken down at the prime of her life, age 28, while in a relationship with a white man. But in this case, Brittany Smith was living in a tent with her white boyfriend, not for a few days or even a couple of weeks, but they were living in a tent on a friend's property for months before she was allegedly killed by Thomas Clayton Johnson and Emily Trevathan. How many more black women's bodies must pile up at the base of Swirl Mountain before the Swirl concubines, the Me Too misandrists, and their male feminist cuck advocates will speak against the perpetrators of these anti-black crimes and anti-black murders against black women? Or are they too invested in their anti-black male rhetoric at this time and date?